Sun, beaches, and Latin-inspired flavors are what people around the world call their vacation paradise. We call it home. Welcome to the weekly podcast that captures it all. The Scoop on Miami. Let's discover and rediscover Miami together with Ernie Emad, a 54-year resident of the Magic City, and Miami native Lainey Rada on The Scoop on Miami. And now, here's Ernie Emad and Lainey Rada.
Hello and welcome. We are live on Facebook, and this will be converted into a podcast later so that you'll be able to listen to it on iTunes, Google Play. You can even ask Alexa to play The Scoop on Miami. That's the wonderful thing. I'm Ernie Emad, the broker-owner of One Premier International, and I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Lainey Rada, leading edge broker associate with Douglas Elliman.
And thank you so much for joining us. We're very excited. We have a tremendous show, so why should you watch today and why should you listen? Well, first of all, we want you to engage with us. So this is a live stream, and so you can put up your comments. We'll continuously look at the comments and post some of those comments in real time. So thank you for joining us. Now, let's, how was your week, Lainey?
My week has been really interesting. It's been fun connecting with everybody and just touching base with people. You can have time to talk to friends you haven't talked to for a long time.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. Yes. You're not kidding. I'm going to start off with our weekly inspirational quote. An optimist is someone who believes that a housefly is looking for a way to get out. George Jean Nathan. So that's absolutely correct. And even the flies want to get out of the lockdown that we have today. Get out of the house, open the doors, but don't swat them. On today's show, we have Todd Freeman. Todd Freeman is the executive creative director and CEO of Tepino, a successful advertising and branding company located in Coconut Grove, And he's going to be talking about branding, what type of branding messages you need to be engaging in right now as we begin to open up with your customers. So this is a very important segment. If you have a small business, you want to get a concise and clear message as we begin to open and re-engage with your customers. Then we're so excited also to have Carol Caridad, the executive director of Paws for You. As adoptions are on the rise, people want more companionship, and we want to make sure that it's done properly. And it's a great story. And Lainey, you have a special guest today. Tell us about it.
Yes, we're really excited that we are going to get to talk to Bill Fuller. Bill's one of the partners in Ball and Chain, the historic bar and lounge that's in Calle Ocho. And we're going to talk to him in just a minute.
That's fantastic. You know, we start every week with a segment that everybody loves, and it's called Miami Rewind. And that's a segment where we take you back when something got started, either a place or something significant in South Florida. And give us a lead-in on today's Miami Rewind.
Well, the history goes so far back to the way that Calle Ocho began was a dirt road that went all the way to the Everglades. And then the history of the way Ball and Chain started, we're really happy to talk to Bill because he has a personal connection to it, which made the passion come alive.
You bet. And he will be on right after this this little incredible story.
Mm-hmm. It's time to take a look back with Lainey Rada. Miami Rewind.
You want to know where you could find Billie Holiday, Count Basie, and Harry the Hipster in 1935? At the Ball and Chain Tavern. This bar and lounge has a colorful history. There was a dirt road that carriages and motor vehicles traveled to bring produce straight into downtown from the Everglades. This street was named Tamiami Trail. Then the trail became Southwest 8th Street, and now this eastern section is commonly known as Calle Ocho. Back then, on this path of progress was a unique developing neighborhood with a Jewish population and a deep South constituency. A few partners have owned the establishment. There was a felon, Ray Miller, and a Jewish entrepreneur, Henry Schechtman. They created all kinds of action. Arrested for burglary, public drunkenness, selling stolen cigarettes, selling liquor illegally, breaking into a jeweler's trunk, and slashing tires. The list goes on and on. Ball and chain is a reference to a prisoner in lockdown. The ball was attached to an ankle chain to prevent escape. It prevented you from doing what you wanted. It was a fitting name for those characters. There was an east side entrance for quick getaways. It had a picture on that wall of a prisoner with a ball and chain. In the 30s and 40s, establishments with illegal gambling and liquor issues were considered dens of iniquity and shut down. Black entertainers were rare in the neighborhood. They would perform at other locations and come do jam sessions at Ball and Chain. They were guaranteed a room in the Tower Apartments after their work. Count Basie was paid $5,100, but his contract called for $13,000. He won a judgment which effectively closed the doors on the business in 1957. The neighborhood kept developing. There were homes, shops, car dealers, gas stations, a hobby hall, and a movie theater. The Tower Theater's across the street. My dad rode his bike there as a kid to see movies for $1.50 in 1950. They showed movies with Spanish subtitles. In 1959, the Copa took over for the next 22 years. Now Bill Fuller and Zach and Ben Bush have brought the lively venue back to its original vibrance. Now you have to fight for a parking space between tour buses. The neighborhood is booming like never before. They recreated the original atmosphere with open doors onto the street. The dancers are on the bar and Cuban music is playing all day and night. Don't miss the outdoor Pineapple stage where great artists perform and there are regular theme nights. It's guaranteed fun for dates, special occasions, and tourists alike. There are colorful regulars of all ages. Bring your dancing shoes to the festive atmosphere. New Times 2019 Reader's Choice awarded it the best mojito. There's a pastelito daiquiri that can't be copied. Bacardi rum, guava puree, house-made honey syrup, lime, and the most fun part, a tiny fresh pastelito on top. Ball and Chain is located at 1513 Southwest 8th Street. That's The Scoop.
Another fantastic segment, and we're excited to have one of the owners of probably the hottest spot to be in and look at people and be seen, the revival of Calle Ocho. Bill Fuller, one of the owners of Ball and Chain. Good morning.
Hi, Bill.
Hi. Hi. Good afternoon. First of all, I just want to start by saying that was a beautiful segment, very well done. I just thank you. Very, very nice and very accurate.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's just a thrill for us. I'm so happy that you could make it.
We're so happy also to be your neighbors. We know you have an office here at the Menorca condominium, and we're grateful that you came on board today. Thank you so much for your time.
Yes. We had a couple of questions because there's so much history here and it goes back to such different times. We wondered, how did the partners come together on this venture? Did you have a restaurant experience?
So originally my mainstay has been in the real estate aspect. And so, my office is one of my other offices on 16th Avenue and 8th Street, very close to this building. Originally this building was purchased. We had purchased it, or I had purchased it with another partner in 2007. And then we had, during that time period, had really started to rebuild a little bit of the history. At that point, my dear friends from childhood, the Bushes, had some experience in nightlife on Miami Beach, and we co-collaborated during this time, many, many years, until I actually was able to get the space back in 2012, and then we reopened the venue in 2014. So there was a nice amount of time to be able to plan carefully as to what the vision would be for the reopening of the Ball and Chain. And it's a beautiful concept to be able to have done it with such good friends of mine. And we all have a very good strength in different aspects of the business. And it's a good partnership, and it's one that really was necessary to, revitalize that concept. But really, Ball and Chain represents one of many great chapters that's happened in Calle Ocho in the last few years. And, it's an iconic venue. It truly embodies the revitalization of the zone, as you mentioned. And, it's been a catalyst to be able to attract other great entrepreneurs, other great restaurateurs, other great operators to bring their concepts to Calle Ocho.
Definitely.
And the more great concepts that we get, the more visitors we receive. We know that we've had exponential growth in tourism since 2004. And, you know, until pre-corona, we were seeing close to 3.5 million visitors a year. So, we're going to get over this, and the future remains very bright for Calle Ocho.
That's so exciting. I know I've seen it in the ups and the downs. So I know that you know that too. From our research, we read that your grandfather was a regular in the old days. Can you tell us about that story?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, one anecdote that my father explains is that my father, they had a home in Shenandoah off of 19th Avenue and 12th Street, and so they were regulars at the Tower movie theater. And so, in one particular instance, my father told me the story where my grandfather had said, "Hey, Freddie, I'm going to go to the bathroom," and when the film ended, the ticket taker had said, "Hey, Freddie, your dad's across the street over at the Ball and Chain." So, that probably was in the early 50s. And so, one thing I will tell you is that I've never met anybody that actually went to the Ball and Chain, unfortunately. And the reason I believe the original one is to actually go inside and be a patron. The reason I believe that is because by the time of its closing, I believe that the patrons were probably not. Some of the patrons we have today are in their early 20s, but by the time the Ball and Chain closed, I think the patrons were probably in their late 30s or early 40s or even older than that. And so by this time, we really would not have seen some of the original patrons. I wish that we had, but I've never been able to, secure a good enough story to make that claim.
Oh, I bet you people still today go to the theater and come across the street while they go to the bathroom. I think that's a plan.
I'm very impressed.
Sure,
I'm very impressed that you brought it back to its original. What condition did you get it in, and what of the original elements were important to keep?
Unfortunately, we didn't have much to work with other than the original foundation of the flooring, and we had the original ceilings in the space. But the ceilings themselves are in the main bar are one of the most spectacular architectural features because we're dealing with a truss ceiling, a wood truss ceiling that has a 50-foot span, something that architects don't really achieve today with that type of roof. So we're proud that we have that intact. And, we reopened the venue with a concept in mind that let's try to envision the space as if it had never closed over all of these years. And if it had never closed over all of these years, it would have transitioned from, this live jazz and this music of the time, American jazz standards, through the Cuban immigration into the neighborhood. So it would have introduced all these Latino artists. I'm sure that the Ball and Chain had been open during the Celia Cruz, Tito Puente years. We would have had them playing
Absolutely.
there. And so we re-envisioned the space as if it had never closed. And even today we pay homage to the original jazz. We do that.
Yes.
Pre-corona, we've been doing that weekly, daily actually, and also the Latin music. So we are producing about 90 hours of live music production a week.
That's spectacular.
And
I don't think
That's
great. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying we never cover a charge. There's never a cover charge or a minimum, and so we're very proud of that. That's our dedication to the original concept of providing live.
There's just a line.
Well, there's no other venue in South Florida
on the weekend
that provides that kind of live entertainment, that continuous.
That's great.
Absolutely.
Not that I'm aware of. I agree with you.
One other thing that I definitely wanted to ask you is one of the main reasons that we have people like yourself on our program is that you're also giving back to the community. So tell us about this fundraiser that you're having along with the Mad Room.
Hospitality.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, we're constantly thinking about how we can reach out to the community. We've been more recently working with, for providing meals to some of our healthcare workers, some of our first responders. We've been doing some, matching opportunities where if you buy a boxed lunch, we're going to provide a boxed lunch to one of these groups of individuals. We're constantly looking at ways where we can, we feel very much responsible to our community. We know that during good times, we are a place that provides a good experience for them. And so we want to know that even during these difficult times, we are going to be there for them, and that, that we're all in this together. I mean, no different than every other small business in South Florida and the rest of the country. We had to make some hard decisions. We had to lay off certain employees, and we are working, as best as possible to transition into a way that we can reopen and as quickly as possible in a way that's meaningful, and at the same time be sensitive to, the spatial distancing and the requirements that are going to be necessary in this post-corona environment. So, but yeah, we've always been dedicated to the community. I personally chair Viernes Culturales, a 20-year organization that activates the last Friday or the third Friday of every month.
Yes, it's
and,
great.
It's just, that's what it's all about. I mean, the Little Havana is a passion project for all of us.
Oh, I love that. It's just great, and you can really tell. Can you just share with us, as far as when you reopen, do you have any guests expected at that time already? Like, do you have anything on the books that somebody can look forward to?
Are you talking about like musical entertainers?
Yes, and your Pineapple Stage.
I think that right now I'm not aware of anything that we've scheduled.
Okay.
We certainly do believe that live music is going to be in the mix as it was before. Mm-hmm. We're just waiting for some direction on what type of limitations. We are making the necessary preparations to be able to handle even a reduced capacities. But I'm certain, we remain positive that over the next, months, or certainly within the next year and a half, we'll be able to return to the full glory of the ball and chain.
Right, because I know that you guys are on the third phase of opening up, and hopefully everybody continues to be safe and continues to wear their protections and follow social guidelines, so that those that are in phase 2 and 3 can open up much sooner. We know how important it is to the community, and having a live venue with all the pent-up people in home, it's going to be a welcome sight.
Bill, what are your takeout hours now? And the other thing I just wanted to know, if somebody does take out the delicious Cuban food that you have, that I wondered if they can also get these specialty cocktails, because they are just great. And since you have the best mojito in all of Miami, which is a challenge, then I wondered if you can get drinks and food.
Yeah, so currently we're open until 8 o'clock. We every day, and we are providing through delivery, certainly takeout directly from the venue, but we're providing delivery through many of the online delivery support platforms. Okay. And we are offering most of our menu. I believe it's very near our complete menu.
Oh, great.
And also different cocktail options. We have, batch cocktail options, and also we have a party solution where you can get an entire kit where you can, create a whole, mojito experience for you and those that you're sequestered with in your you're isolated within your house. And so bring a little bit of the ball and chain magic to home.
Did they relax the liquor rules so that restaurants can now have the takeout drinks?
They did. That was an early a relaxation by the governor, and
fantastic.
So that was something that worked out nicely.
Yeah, especially for a party kit. That is so fun. I love it. I didn't know about that.
Well, now our listeners and viewers will definitely know about it and take advantage of it.
What a combination.
Weekend coming up, too.
Well, I can't thank you enough. We really appreciate your time, and we really want to make sure that more than 3.5 million people walk by and go there and dance and eat. So it's just great. I really appreciate that you responded to our request.
And as promised,
thank you so much for celebrating the ball and chain and highlighting.
Thank you so much.
The Calle Ocho story.
We're very grateful for you being and taking the time. We know how busy you are, and as promised, right as we go into a commercial break, it'll be a commercial about Ball and Chain. So thank you, and you have yourself a great weekend.
Take care, Bill.
You do.
All right.
Stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
What a wonderful segment, Lainey. What history and what great people and what they're doing to help the community. So that's fantastic. Hey, look, when we return to the Scoop on Miami, we're going to have Todd Freeman with us from Tepino, and he's going to help you fire up your brand. When people interact with your company, do they leave inspired? Do you get through to your customers on an emotional level? Most companies don't know how to do this, or they just don't believe it's important. We've seen it work. We've built billion-dollar business-to-business companies and national brands. The key is great branding. What does branding do? It gives you the power of yes. In fact, a great brand is a series of yeses. It gets people to say yes from the start. Yes, I like your product. Yes, I'll buy it. Yes, I'll buy it again. Yes is the most powerful word in business. It keeps your customers happy, your employees inspired, your stakeholders invested. Branding is knowing how to get customers to say yes. How will you harness the power of yes? Call Todd Freeman today at Tepino and receive a free 2-hour branding session for your company when you update your identity or website. Tepino, fire up your brand. Call today at 305-725-6303. 305-725-6303. To find out more, go to tepino.com. Tepino.com. Tepino. Find yourself with the spirit of Louis Armstrong, Ella Fitzgerald, Billie Holiday, and Lena Horne. This isn't your grandfather's bar and lounge. Experience the vibe of a bygone era with the energy of Miami today like no other ball and chain. An 80-year history with live jazz and Latin music that transforms Calle Ocho daily with playful and tropical cocktails, tapas, and the best high-energy live music. Ball and Chain thanks Miami and the world for its success by teaming up with Mad Room Hospitality to help us feed those in need and matching every meal donation to feed the homeless, medical centers, and first responders. With just a $10 meal donation, Ball and Chain will donate another meal to those most in need during these difficult times. Co-sponsored by Taquerias El Mexicano, Los Altos, Mad Room Hospitality, and Ball and Chain. 1513 Calle Ocho, or visit ballandchainmiami.com to donate.
We're back with more of the Scoop on Miami. Find our podcast on iTunes and on YouTube as a video, our Facebook page, and the scooponmiami.com. While there, don't forget to subscribe, share, and like our podcast channel. And now, here's Ernie Enac and Lainey Rada.
Welcome back. And it was a great episode, a great segment with Ball and Chain. I love the story behind it, the people behind the organization, and what they've put together, because that section of Calle Ocho was not lively. And right now, just to be able to have a practically day and night, to be able to enjoy the flavors and the sounds of Miami is spectacular. And one of the reasons why we live here, right?
That's right.
Absolutely. So joining us now is Todd Freeman. He is the CEO and creative director for Tepino, Fire Up Your Brand and Harnessing the Power of Yes. It's an important segment, and I want you to listen to what he has to say, specifically if you have a small business. Good afternoon, Todd, and thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Lainey and Ernie. I just want to make a quick request. I want a home party kit from Ball and Chain. I could tell you I want one now.
If you leave your credit card number, we'll order it for you and even pick it up and deliver it to you.
But from being on the show, I don't automatically get one. Okay.
Absolutely. So, Todd Freeman, tell us a little bit about your story, how Tepino came about, and really, how do you connect with your community?
Well, I'm a Miami boy. I grew up in Miami, and I went to Palmetto Senior High, and I left for college in Brooklyn, and I live in the Grove, and that's where I have my agency. And we connect with a lot of different companies. From a lot of different Miami companies, from national brands to local brands, and we connect. We connect by learning. First of all, by learning about so many different businesses in Miami, and that's the greatest part about being in the branding agency business is you get to really get a deep dive and learn about companies, and learn how to tell their story for them, and that's what we've been doing for the last 20-something years.
Storytelling is very important. You're not kidding.
Yes.
I want to touch up on branding, because branding is one of these words that people just don't understand what encompasses branding. Tell us, what is branding?
Well, there's a lot of confusion about what branding is and marketing is. And a lot of people think branding is your logo. That's your brand identity. So I put it this way. Think about marketing is it gets you to potentially meet a lot of dates with as many of the right people as possible. But branding gets them to say yes and remember your company and relate to your company or product. So that's why branding is really important.
Well, that's a good association.
Absolutely. Most people think it's just putting a logo out, right?
That's the brand identity, but branding is the whole experience.
Beautiful. What's the first thing that a company should do when they are talking about branding themselves?
Well, the first thing that you really need to be able to do is figure out how to communicate specifically your offer very, very clearly and in a very compelling way. Like, you might sometimes say, I hear a lot of people say, we really offer the same thing as a lot of other companies in the same type of business. But you can always find another way to tell the story. You can always find a really unique, smart angle on it. And that's really what a brand agency should do for you. They should be able to pull out those really important nuggets, and be able to tell that story in a really compelling way and sell you in a different way than everybody else sells themselves.
Got it. Understand. How long have you been in business?
Yeah, that's, I don't love answering that question. But it's been 28 years I've been in business for myself. And my wife at the time and I created a branding agency we named Propeller. And we had built that up with a great team of people. It was an amazing time. And after that, we created this smaller agency called Tepino. In fact, the Tepino name is based on the Tep and Pepper, so it's very small but very strong.
Wow, cool. Very nice.
That's why it fires up your brand, right?
Yeah.
Great.
So, and our company's designed to build, the brands of the future. And so we'll work with, really small companies. We could work with medium-sized companies. We'll work with larger companies. But that's really, our goal is to work with the brands that are emerging right now. That's what we love working on.
What are some of the most popular projects that you and your company have worked with?
There was a campaign we did years ago with Bal Harbor. It was we did an underwater photo shoot of a woman dressed in fashion.
Wow.
And we did it actually in a swimming pool, but it looks like we're in the ocean.
Does she have an orange dress?
Yeah, she had a yellow, and that campaign was very visual. It was very good for the town of Bal Harbor. It was had a great response. It was on a superlative, which is like a giant billboard in New York, right. And it really kind of turned that around.
She looked like a mermaid.
Yeah,
it was a really nice dress on.
How long was she in the water?
Now the thing that was amazing was we flew in this photographer from California, and the model was also from California. We let the photographer choose the model, and he's like, she's just good underwater. And I was like, I don't know what that really means. And, we dressed her up, and you would think that dress was going to drag her down. And, but she was able to hold her breath longer than me while they were photographing. I couldn't believe it. I mean, she was good underwater.
Wow.
And it became an amazing image. And that was really fun to be on that. That's when branding is super fun, when you get to create an iconic image like that.
Yeah, because I can remember it.
Oh, that's amazing, because that's actually quite some time ago. But you know, recently we were part of creating a brand called 22 Days Nutrition, which is also started by a local fitness guru, Marco Borges, and he's also in partnership with Jay-Z and Beyonce on that. And it's a national brand now. It's really, you'll see it all over.
Folks, don't get intimidated because he's worked on such large projects, because he's definitely here to help small businesses as well.
Well, yeah. I mean, what I love to do is, like, a lot of these businesses that came to me were small, or emerging. And I think that's really the stage that I personally enjoy working on, because you could get in and you can really start to shape and mold the company early on, and shape and mold the communications. And that's the stuff that I love to be a part of, So.
Well, as a small business owner myself and you, share with our audience, how has COVID-19 affected you, your business, and your employees?
Well, thanks to you, I got to shave and put on a nice shirt today. Otherwise that wasn't happening. So, what happened to us, we have quite a few hotel clients, and they're shut down. So, our hotel clients aren't really happening right now. But the good thing is the team I have, they have a great attitude, and we were just saying, what do we do from here? So we really worked on our own brand. And, as a branding agency, a lot of times the Caliber Sun doesn't have any shoes, meaning, we don't work on our own brand enough. Mm-hmm. So we've been doing that, and we concentrated our efforts on, an emerging market that we're in is cannabis. And so we're building a brand for a company called MyLife, which is a premium hemp company. No THC, if you guys know what that means, but or very low THC, and it's a great product. So we've been really pushing it right now, because it helps with helps keep you calm,
and sleeping and so forth.
Yeah, and helps you sleep at night. So we've been running a campaign for them.
What's
really
the name of that
hard.
tea?
It's MyLife, and we call them, it was a specific name we gave to the teas called terp teas, because it's teas made with terpenes, which are, the aromas of flowers that give you, like chamomile and lanolin and stuff like that give you the calmer feeling. So we've been really pushing really hard for that brand right now, since it's the right time.
Fantastic. So let's get into the meat of why you're here, correct? What should companies be doing right now during this pandemic?
Well, there's a few things you could do right now, and a lot of companies that I start with, their brand that they started with isn't necessarily really where they are now. So they started with a story and a brand and a product, and their company's evolved over the last couple years. So a really great place to start is to kind of look at your company, especially now, now that the whole world is changing.
Right.
And so, look at your company and kind of redefine it. Look at it and say, okay, this is where we were, but where we see ourselves in the next 5 years? And, what should we be selling? Maybe it's...
I like that projection. That's a good idea.
Thank you, yeah. So you always have to you have to project yourself, not what you exactly are today, but project yourself into the future.
A vision.
Like that. Yes.
Is there a quick little nugget that you can give someone regarding messaging to re-engage with their customers? Many small companies that I've talked to haven't been communicating with their customers over the last 40 days. What kind of a nugget can you give them? Specifically, if they don't have a CRM or don't have a client list where they can do emailing and so forth, it's a good time to start putting these things in place. But what kind of a nugget can you give them?
Well, I would say, keep yourself out there. Even if you think no one's listening, it's an important thing to do. You got to stay out there, and don't disappear. Number one. Number two is, I would say, think about your business and how you can you can be relevant right now. So Ball and Chain, who we just spoke with, they have a home party kit. You would say, what are you going to do? It's a nightclub. It's a restaurant. But they're thinking of ways to stay relevant, to stay in the mix. Brilliant idea. I didn't come up with it, but
Mix, no pun intended.
Absolutely. Let me ask you, how are you currently serving your customers now?
Well, what we're doing with a lot of businesses, we're digging deep and we're finding ways to help them adapt, help them adapt. And also with a few other companies, we're with M2E is the largest consulting engineering company here in Miami. They're doing a brand refresh now. So we're digging into, who are they now? Because they've had great growth and great success. So, we're looking at their brand. We're helping them redefine their brand.
I like that brand refresh. That sounds great.
Yeah. So so when we're doing that kind of work, that's not necessarily, reaching out into the market, but this is a good time to kind of focus inward, get all of your messaging correct, get everything aligned that you can get aligned right now, and then think about, all right, how can we adjust? What does this mean? What is this pandemic? Could it go on for another year? To some of the social distancing stuff, and what can we do to change?
The short answer is no. It can't go on for another year.
I hope not.
That's for sure.
But there's some companies that are doing some pretty amazing things right now. Like, restaurants are now becoming grocery stores too. So those types of things, and then.
Absolutely.
And then once you do that, how do you tell that story?
Right. Let me ask you one final question. What are you currently offering small businesses?
So what we're doing now is we're offering a free branding session to companies that want to update their identities or websites. So, that's what I was saying, that it's a good time to really kind of look at your company, look at what you're selling, look at your story. And we'll give you 2 hours of a branding session, and then we can move on to an updated identity or update your website, make your website work better for the pandemic.
Absolutely,
time.
and include your messaging there. Yeah. Thank you so much, Todd, for being on the program. Tepino, it's a branding company located in Coral Gables. If they needed to reach you, can you tell them your phone number again, please?
Sure. It's 305-725-6303.
One more time.
305-725-6303.
Thank you so much for being on the program today, Todd.
One question. Is that Tepino with one P or two?
It's one P.
All right.
Tepino.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ernie.
Okay, when we come back, we're going to have Carol with Paws for You, how to adopt the pets correctly, and a fantastic story. What do you mean Misha was found in a ditch? The thought that a perfectly healthy, caring dog could be abandoned planted the seed in Caro Caridad. Now, 13 years later, Paws for You is proud to have over 5,200 adoptions and over 2,400 rescued animals, with an army of 250 volunteers and a solid strategy to rescue, heal, and nourish while educating our community. Paws for You offers adoptions and boarding. Become a volunteer today and ask about our Buddies for Paws program. Paws for You, with a commitment to save one dog at a time. Bring home your next furry addition to your family from Paws for You, or help by making a donation today at pawsforyou.org or by calling 786-242-7377. 786-242-7377. That's Paws, the number 4, you.org.
I'm Lainey Rada, a leading-edge broker associate with Douglas Elliman. I have over 35 years of experience in market cycles to bring to every transaction, and I'm still alive. When you want to see how I sell 85% of my listings and the average agent sells 40%, we need to talk. I break records, the fastest sale, the most offers, the highest price per square foot. Which one do we want to accomplish? My company includes superior quality marketing to enhance your property and the worldwide exposure, which matters in Miami. If you want to buy, I'm a Miami native. I know the area extremely well. Put my negotiating skills to work. I'm the only Lainey Rada in the world, so it's easy to find me. But I'll help you. My phone number is 305-710-8558. That's 305-710-8558. Let's set up a time to talk.
We're back with more of the Scoop on Miami. Find our podcast on iTunes and on YouTube as a video, our Facebook page, and the scooponmiami.com. While there, don't forget to subscribe, share, and like our podcast channel. And now, here's Ernie Enad and Lainey Rada.
Got that music in your blood.
Supposedly.
On the phone with us right now is Carol Catedad. She is the executive director of Paws for You with a wonderful story. Good afternoon, Carol.
Good afternoon, Ernie and Lainey. Thanks for having me here.
We are so pleased. Thank you for being on the program with us today.
Thank you for holding on the phone. This is all different little things happening with us today.
First
No
live
problem, no
streaming
problem.
and then turning a podcast into videos and everything, but we're doing pretty good. That's for sure.
Yes, we're having fun, and we really appreciate you coming on with us. We noticed that.
Super.
Yeah, we noticed your sheltering and fostering at Paws for You started in 2007. And we just, we think Misha has a lot to do with that, but what inspired you to start at that time?
I had been volunteering for other organizations, and I also I adopted Misha actually when I went to college in New York. And I didn't really understand that about animal welfare and an overpopulation problem. I grew up riding horses, and if there was a stray at the barn, it stayed at the barn. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until I went to adopt Misha as a puppy, and I said, what do you mean she was in a ditch? Like, how'd she end up in a ditch? And they're like, well, we were out feeding on an old lot, and it was February. It was very, very cold, and there was a pack of dogs, and they were all looking down in this ditch, and that was because the puppy had fallen in there. And so I started volunteering, and then I was volunteering here in Miami and up in Deerfield Beach, and I just saw such a need. There were so many animals being euthanized at this time because of lack of adoptions, lack of space in Miami-Dade County, that I just said, you know what? I need to help. I can make more of an impact.
Oh, that's
so my mom, my dad, my husband, and I sat down in the family room, and it evolved from there.
That's
that's
really nice.
Really,
and especially that it was a family effort. Then it kept everybody with the same vision. That must have made a big difference.
Yeah,
it definitely did. I had a lot of support.
I know the need because I'm a softie for animals, and I used to volunteer as a photographer for Justin Bartlett out of Palm Beach, and did a lot of their events and did a photo session for their senior dogs, which are the most difficult to place. So it was very fulfilling.
Yeah, speaking of the pictures, the online pictures are so cute with them. And I saw this little dog, Asia. He has on a bow tie. It's like it's better than an online dating site.
Our volunteers take great pride in doing their photo shoots.
That's so cute. What's the family matching process that you refer to on your website? How does that work?
So rather than someone just going off of a look, which a lot of times that's what does make someone fall in love with an animal, we want to make sure that the dog or the cat has the same behavior that will fit in with the family. If it's somebody that works all day, they probably don't need a high energy dog if they're away from the house. Although things are changing now as we are readapting, they may be able to now. Maybe they'll get them up off the couch and go for a walk. Mm-hmm. So, also, puppies have sharp teeth. Is your 1 or 2 year old child ready for sharp teeth? So it's more of just trying to be a matchmaker, and we don't want the dogs to come back, for failing or behavior wise. So we really, our adoption committee, we have a team, and they work, and they're volunteers, and they work so hard, and especially during this pandemic, they have worked even more hard because so many people want to just give it a try. They want to adopt or they want to foster. And then they're turning into foster failures, which we love that term. That means the dogs aren't coming back.
Okay.
So,
and I noticed that you have boarding there, and you have some really unique materials to make the animals comfortable, and also that your staff has some special skills. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So I think what makes Paws for You unique from a boarding aspect is that we have indoor-outdoor runs, so the dogs can go in or out. They're not stuck in a cage or, in a boarding type facility that doesn't allow them freedom. Okay. In addition to them being able to go in and out, we have 8 turf yards. So these turf yards are fantastic, especially for dogs with allergies, maybe to the grass or to the environment. We find that. Yeah. And so they get rotated 2 to 3 times a day in the turf yards as well. And we have a VIP boarding area. We were part of a TV show called Save Our Shelter, and PetSmart Charities gave us a grant to deck out this room that, everybody's got a closet or a drawer in their house. They just kind of shut it and it becomes the bottomless pit. Well, we had a room over there at Paws for You that was like that. And they came in and they decked it out, and now it's an AC room with glass doors, and people can log in and see their dogs while they're boarding, while they're away traveling. It's been a great asset.
And I saw
there's
some kind of bed. Yeah. You have some kind of special beds. Did I see that?
Every dog gets a Corenda bed.
Oh, okay, what is that?
There are these, the Corenda bed is like a PVC base type.
Oh, so they're off the ground, right?
Yeah, so they're off the ground.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we have fleece covers that we'll put on them when the weather's cooler also.
Oh, cute.
Let me ask you, what is your greatest need right now?
Our greatest need, everyone has so many needs. I think it's like everybody's taking a financial hit. Fortunately, last night I got word from our bank that our PPP loan came through. So I'm really blessed. Yeah, we're really blessed to have that because of the boarding business, which helps us stay afloat with our medical expenses, which we had $100,000 in just medical alone last year. That's just services. That's not even supplies. I was very, very nervous about how we were going to keep going and to keep saving lives. So communities really come together, and through some newsletter blasts that we've done, they've given some generous donations. So that's a need, and really still fostering. I mean, even though we're getting so many dogs into great foster homes, there's still dogs that are coming in. So this hasn't stopped. So fostering and just creating the awareness that Paws for You is out there, and we're still servicing the community, and we want to be back. The community loves us, and we're determined to keep our doors open.
I love the one dog at a time, and you're really actually placing almost a dog a day.
That's what we're trying to do. We have 2 leaving this afternoon, and these are both tough little cases. One's a little Yorkie mix who has an issue with his mouth. He's a little mouthy and snappy, and a gentleman's come now to meet with him 3 times, and he's brought his dog, and he's Rocco's getting adopted. And Mila's a big bully girl that was at Animal Services, and we had told her, I guess it's going on now 2 years we've had her. She was pregnant. All of her puppies got adopted. And then she's just had some trust issues. But there's been some people that have been coming to visit her. So we're just hoping, praying that, these 2 dogs do well and stay out of a boarding type situation.
Folks, definitely reach into your pockets and help this fantastic organization by going to pawsforyou.org. That's Paws, the number 4U, YOU.org. Any kind of donation will actually be tremendously grateful for to help these animals. And we need more. Like your main goal is one day that you close your doors because there's no need, that we've found homes for every single animal. And that's a great vision. Lainey, any closing? No,
but we just want to thank you so much for your time, and we definitely care about your goal too, just like your family.
I want to bring up one thing. One way we can easily donate on a continuous basis is through Amazon. Can you tell us about it? Because I did it last night.
Thank you. Yes, I can. So Amazon has it's called Amazon Smile, and you sign up, and it doesn't matter if you're a Prime member or not. I just figured that out. But you can sign up, and then they give a percentage back to Paws for You, and it varies. Mm-hmm. If you can't find what you're looking for on Amazon, there's also iGive, and that is another opportunity. That's more large, different items than Amazon. So that's one way. And then we also, our website, you can give monthly, you can give, however often you want to, but we also have Giving Tuesday next week, Giving Tuesday Now, which has been moved up due to our current situation. And that is a great way to also donate. And all organizations need the help. I feel bad, talking about donations all the time for Paws for You, but there's so many of us, and it's just creating awareness that we're all in this together, and let's just get through this.
And now more than ever, collaboration is very important. It's sad that it brings a tragedy to bring us together, but it was needed.
Well, Giving Tuesday is really important. It's an international day for charitable giving. It started in 2012 at the Y, actually. And so now, one of the things when I talked to Carol the first time, she said that they're trying to share donations for other, the people that are most in need, which I thought was really special.
Fantastic. Carol, is there anything that you want to mention that we may have failed to bring up?
No, I think you have covered it well. I would just like, once we get back to whatever our new norm is going to be, invite you and your listeners to come for a tour of Paws for You and come see what we're all about. And maybe you'd like to get involved with volunteering.
Absolutely.
At any capacity. Yeah, the more troops we have on the ground, the better off our animals will be. So
you bet.
I appreciate your compassion.
Thank you so much. We're grateful that you were on today. I know that you have a 2:00 meeting, and we're so thankful that you took the time on such a short notice to be with our program.
And best of luck for you with your big heart.
All right. Well, we'll be in touch. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, folks, when we come back, we've got our hidden treasures, and it's a special person. You don't want to miss today's episode. Lainey did just a fabulous job. That's Hidden Treasures coming up next.
From this moment on, consumers will expect it and sellers will demand it. Cinematic video walkthroughs for all of your listings. Professional photography, cinematic video walkthroughs, on-camera video tours, and professional voiceover narration. I'm Ernie Emad, head of BlueHourStudios.com. Blue Hour Studios is a progressive visual and audio powerhouse producing high-end video and audio productions. Become an expert in your field with a professionally produced podcast from our studio in Coral Gables. Call Blue Hour Studios today to elevate your image and voice. BlueHourStudios.com. With hundreds of brokerages, thousands of agents, how do you cut through all the noise? One Premier International Realty, a boutique real estate brokerage located in Coral Gables, doing business the old-fashioned way, putting people first. Buying, selling, or leasing residential and commercial properties in Miami-Dade, Broward, and Monroe counties? One Premier International provides each customer a high level of service and communication experience with full-time agents from around the world bringing their unique sense of business skills and a foreign customer base. One Premier International Realty. You've heard of private banking. Now experience private brokerage, a higher level of service and knowledge. One Premier International Realty. 305-669-0233 or go online to www.onepremierinternational.com.
We're back with more of the Scoop on Miami. Find our podcast on iTunes and on YouTube as a video, our Facebook page, and thescooponmiami.com. While there, don't forget to subscribe, share, and like our podcast channel. And now, here's Ernie Enac and Lainey Rada.
Thank you so much for spending this hour with us today and every Friday at 1 o'clock. Scoop on Miami on Facebook, and in a couple of weeks, then we're going to blast it to many different platforms, including YouTube. Today's the hidden treasure of today is a special one. I was expecting a place, something interesting,
Concrete.
And you brought us a person. Tell us about today's hidden treasures.
Every week we have a hidden treasure, which is usually a fixed in stone kind of a building or some small space that you don't really know about. But I was writing it, and I was thinking, I told this virtual friend of mine that I was going to feature him, and then I thought, well, he's the hidden treasure, because you'll find out why when you listen to this.
And now it's time for the 305. The 305 Hidden Treasures. Hidden Treasures with Lainey Rada.
I have a virtual friend. I found out about him and his Instagram account a couple years ago. He's a Miami local recommended to follow. He hangs around thrift stores, shares his eBay temptations, shows his favorite finds, and has a good collection of building photos, old and new. He creates his own sort of mini-series. The latest one was the current buildings where an old car dealer stood. He has the facts. One of my favorite specialties of his is getting into stores going out of business. He gets some kind of rare access. It's just him and the old mannequins. I love to see the progress. He shares the pricing going down and the shelves emptying. I told him he's going to be very busy in the future. He also gives a name to some of the homeless population, which is nice of him. He shared photos of his mini cemetery garden at his house with vintage markers that his neighbor isn't as excited about. He is kind enough to respond to his fans' comments with a unique sense of humor. He is one elusive character. I don't even know what he looks like. I can figure out his vantage point of a certain picture, so I know where he might be. I've tried to meet him a few times, and it was all in vain. He should definitely be on all Miami fans' lists. His name is Philip Pessar, Pessar. You can follow him on his Flickr, and his cover photo is an old sign, and his Instagram, where his cover photo is a car on Ocean Drive, or his Facebook, where his cover photo is Barney from the Flintstones. Our hidden treasure is a live person this time. Enjoy.
Interesting person to follow, that's for sure.
I can't say enough. That's like as much as I could write, but I could go on. He is really something, and I'm sure he's listening, because I told him I was going to feature him, but he still didn't plan to meet me.
Well, Philip, it's a perfect time to be on the Scoop Live. We can put a mask on you, and it's acceptable. They still won't know who you are, but we love to hear all those interesting stories.
And thank you for all your entertainment, and I really appreciate all of your responses to all the messages. You're very nice, at responding to everybody. You have a great sense of humor.
So next week, we have Pittman Photo Supply, and that's a company that started in the 20s here in South Florida, and it's an iconic photography business and supply house. They also develop pictures. I've had some beautiful metal prints done from some of my own photography work. We're excited to have Pittman Photo Supply next week on the podcast. We also have Jill Steinberg. She's with the Cat Network. So we took care of the dog lovers this week. Next week, we're going to take care of the cat lovers, which I am also one of. So I'm excited to find out what's available for cats. Specifically, they're just wonderful pets to have. And I have a cat named Samantha that is like a puppy dog. I mean, waits for me by the door, comes to me. It's a kind of a rare breed, but animals just bring tremendous joy to our lives. Anything else, Lainey, you want to talk about?
I want to give a shout out to my friend Emmanuel Rivera, because my gloves always remind me of Smurf. You know, it's like 10X, and we have Smurf is the name of his company. He has an HVAC business in Chicago. So I want to make sure that, you know, our podcast travels all over the world. So anybody who's in Chicago, you can call him. And you can't forget Smurf.
Folks, thank you so much. Don't forget, this will be turned into a podcast later today, available on iTunes, Google Play, Alexa, Spotify, you name it. And we'll also have the rebroadcast of today's program. And thank you so much for joining us every single Friday. Don't forget, leave us your comments. We're very excited. We love the comments. You have a comment.
Review.
Beautiful.
Wait, we had a review. And we wanted to keep all our guests moving, so we appreciate their time, and everybody's got a schedule. So there is a review that was just so exciting. We love our reviews. It says, "Love the podcast. Ernie is the best host ever."
Oh, that was kind.
The podcast is very entertaining and has awesome segments along with very interesting guests. Keep up the work. Can't wait for the next one.
Thank you so much.
And that's from Don't Waste Your Time.
Oh,
so,
beautiful. Well,
very good.
He doesn't find this a waste of time, so thank you for those comments. Hey, listen, by the way, don't forget, leave us your comments, share, subscribe to our channel, tell everybody about it. If you have a business, please give us a call. There's no cost to be on the podcast. It's a good time to send a good branding message like Todd Freeman told us about today from Tepino, and it's a good time to expose yourself to over 159 million people that watch or listen to podcasts on a monthly basis for over 6 hours. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Absolutely. We'll see you next week.
We hope you were entertained, informed, enriched, and proud to live in Miami. We have come to the end of another episode of The Scoop on Miami with your host, Ernie Emad, broker, owner of One Premier International Realty, and Lainey Rada, a leading-edge broker associate with Douglas Elliman. Thank you for riding alongside our journey. If you know of a special person doing wonderful things in our community or want your business featured, visit thescooponmiami.com and contact us. Find The Scoop on Miami on iTunes. Subscribe, share, and like our podcast channel. While there, leave a comment. We'd love to know what you think. And now you have The Scoop on Miami.